Hi, everybody, it's Weird Wink Wilkinson laughing and scratching at you. How's everybody doing today? I got a little bit of a stiff neck. Let me just fix this up. Oh, that feels a lot better. Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff. I feel so very weird.
There are some things in this world that go way beyond human understanding. Things that cannot be explained, things that most people don't want to know about. That is where we come in.
There's no human being would stack books like this.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, it looks like you're the one who needs to be taught a lesson, pal. Class is paying 101. The instructor's Casey Jones.
Look, I don't want to fight you.
Well, tough rocks, pal.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I?
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
It's a cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
We have the tools, we have the talent.
It's Miller time.
Luminous being so we, not this fruit basher.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Hey, these aren't my rules. Come to think of it, I don't have any rules.
Well, that's great. Either I have a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
You know something? Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Rise to the top, oh yeah.
That's the nicest thing a dog can say about anybody.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point. You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
I've got one that can see.
Sometimes happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you gonna call?
It's showtime.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 267 of Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. It's an open mic night. No, your calendar doesn't fool you. It's not Wednesday. It's Tuesday. So tonight I would have had John from John's Long Box on the show, but he had to reschedule. So he'll be here next week on the 22nd. And there's a lot of reschedulings I have to do this week, to be honest. So tomorrow night on the Alterna Comics YouTube channel, I'm going to have a launch stream at 9 o'clock Eastern for the Hall of Fame 2025 books. It's 3 of those. Maybe I'll get a chance to talk about them tonight. We'll see how it goes in terms of the guests, since it's a new open mic night. Although maybe that'll be interesting, right? Maybe we'll get some more people than last week. Last week we had 2 people. And I appreciate them coming on. But we had 2 people last week, so it was kind of slim pickings for guests. So tomorrow night, Wednesday, I will not be on this channel. I'll be simulcasting it, so I'll be here, but I won't be here. I'll be at the Alterna Comics channel. Either way, I am where I am, just not virtually. And then Thursday night, we've got Art T. Bear at 9 o'clock Eastern again. So Art will be here. We'll have a conversation. And then Friday night, I'm switching it with Saturday night. So Friday night is going to be a Friday night comics auction. And Saturday, I won't be here. I'll be on the Michael Bancroft channel. So I was going to have a conversation with Michael on his channel on Friday. continuing the conversation we had last week, but instead we had to reschedule that. Just move it a day over to Saturday. So this week's all discombobulated. So real quick again, tonight, open mic. We got open mic Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'll be on the Alterna Comics channel. We've got a launch stream for the Hall of Fame 2025 campaign. And I'll be simulcasting to this channel. Thursday night, I'll be back here. Art T. Bear will be with me at 9 o'clock Eastern. Hopefully, we don't have to reschedule. Friday night will be a Friday night comics auction instead of a Saturday night comics auction. And then Saturday night, I'll be on Michael Bancroft's channel. All right. So I hope we can get a bunch of people here tonight. You know, who knows? We mix it up a little bit. And maybe we get some people watching the show that wouldn't have watched normally for the open mic show. Maybe we get some people joining us that we wouldn't have normally gotten. Let's turn this lemon into lemonade. So let's see who we have here in the chat. We got Cigar Gangster. What's up, Cigar Gangster? Hope you're doing good. I just responded to your post. I'm taking commission work. I'm done with my commissions. Finished the last one yesterday. They're all shipped out. So I'm opening up commission spots again. I got 10 spots open. They start at $10. All kinds of different sizes, sketch cards, 5x7s, comic book backing board, and 8x10. Prices start at 10. You name your price. The more you pay, the more detailed of a piece you'll get. All that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, respond back and let me know. Let's see. Lau says, hoping to see some cool projects tonight. I'm hoping to see that too. Absolutely. Wayne says, good evening, Pete, chat, and guests. Ray, what's up, Ray? Good to see you. We got Jeff here too. Jeff says, hey, Pete and chat, really enjoying the new shows lately. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, man. It's good to get back in the swing of things. It's been fun. It's been really nice having these Thursday interviews. I'm trying to see how it'll go for this month, what people seem to be more into, and then lean into that for May and June and so on. So far people really enjoy the conversational interviews. I'm not really too shocked by that, but you know, we'll see how it goes, because I want to keep doing the open mic shows, but I might kind of consolidate that into just keeping it to the Friday open lines show. Friday's usually an open lines show. This week it's going to be a comics auction, and usually the comics auctions are on Saturday. But we'll see how it goes, because the first week was okay with the on the second there for open mic. The 9th last week was kind of tough. It's kind of tough. So we'll see how it goes tonight. There's no one in the green room tonight. You know, and again, it's Tuesday night. I get it. It's also tax day. You know, people might be really bent out of shape from the day. Cole says, hey, Pete, great to see you. Good to see you too, Cole. What's up? Ross Wolf, how's it going, Ross? Good to see you. Andy says, just bought 100. Cool, thanks. What'd you buy 100 of? Inquiring minds want to know. Hojo, what's up, Hojo? Good to see you. We got Michael Bancroft here too. How's it going? Michael says, looking forward to continuing our chat this weekend. Yeah, I am too. This is like I said, this is a very I'm mixing up the schedule this weekend because there's so many different things between rescheduling, and then I'm going to be on Michael's channel on Saturday. We're mixing up formats a little bit. Not too crazy. I'm hoping Art T. Bear will be here Thursday. The last time I invited Art T. Bear to something was an art auction. He said he'd be there the day before. He even promoted it on his channel. Then he just flat out never showed up. I think like 3 or 4 days later, I heard from him, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, forgot about it." Yeah, okay, I get it, Art. I get it. So I'm hoping he shows up. It was a great conversation when I had him on like a year or so ago, whatever that was. And it's always a good conversation with Art. So we'll see. We'll see. I got my fingers crossed, and I hope you got your fingers crossed too. Andy wants commissions. 100. He bought 100 commissions. 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 commissions. Keep them coming. Thank you, Andy. And Andy, if you do want one, feel free to get one. Like I said, name your own price. I'm not offended even if someone wants to get a $10 piece. You get a $10 sketch card or something like that. Go for it. I did a bunch of those when I took commissions back in February. I did a bunch of commission pieces, and people named their own price. The prices came in. It was varying from 10 to 50. And again, depending on how much you pay, I put in, it's going to look good no matter what. I'm going to put in a lot of effort no matter what. But it'll be the difference between like a portrait, black and white, or, full body with background and all that kind of stuff. And it depends, again, on the sizing that you get. Or if you want a sketch card, you want an 8x10. It's been a lot of fun doing these. Someone had I posted it on the YouTube community section and everywhere else that I'm on. Someone got a mashup of Eddie, Iron Maiden's Eddie, dressed as King Cryptid, and that was a lot of fun. That was fun. As a fan of the band, that was fun to do that. I've never done anything like that before, and I just shipped that off today. So hopefully they really like it. And, maybe I'll get a chance to do that again. Who knows? We'll see. Let's see. JC says, is there like any annual event that anyone is aware of dedicated for independent publishers and creators that they can all gather apart from internet and sell, talk, promote their works? I mean, that's kind of like every comic convention you just described, and they come around annually. There's a lot of them. If you're talking primarily focused on independent comics, as far as I know, the only ones that I can think of would be SPX in Bethesda, Maryland, and a lot of them have changed over the years in some way, shape, or form. I won't go into those changes and what I mean by that, but they're primarily focused on independent comics. Space, do they still have the Small Press and Comics Expo in Columbus, Ohio? I don't know. I went to that one years ago. Same with SPX. I went to 2 of those years ago. And there's all kinds of, is it MoCA? The Museum of Comic Art in New York. There's all kinds of different ones that are just geared mostly towards independent. The problem with indie, independent, small press, all that kind of stuff that I've always found myself in is falling into like the dead zone of, are you indie enough? Like, I find I'm not indie enough. That's how it's been over the years, even though I define indie as just, it's short for independent. So if you're an independent creator, if you're not working for a bigger publisher, I would consider you an indie creator. Some people consider you an indie creator even if you still work for a bigger publisher, but you have indie creator-owned type books. Other people won't consider you indie unless you just self-publish everything. So if you're being published at all by another publisher, they won't really consider you indie. There's so many varying grades of clickitude. It's annoying. So, but as far as like a dedicated event, I mean, there are a bunch of them, a bunch of these kind of conventions and whatnot. So hopefully that helps. Probably didn't. JC says, I feel like that'd be really cool from the big names that self-publish to the small guys that have a book out only. Spicer, thank you for gifting 5 more memberships there, Spicer. I think you just unlocked my ability for tomorrow to have a new emoji for those in the chat that are members. I was 1 away the last time I checked. So thank you, Spicer, and congrats to the people that got a membership. Let's see. Andy says, that was sick, dude. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing that Eddie Iron Maiden King Cryptid mashup cover. That was a lot of fun. JC says, I feel like comic conventions have too much collectibles and the big companies like Funko Pop and stuff to take up some of the hall spaces. Well, I'm talking comic conventions that are more like comic shows, man. I'm not really talking about like Expo, like Fan Expo and San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con, and I'm talking about like the nitty-gritty. It's in a hotel lobby, you know, that kind of a thing. I'm not really talking so much about the other stuff. All of the other stuff does have things like that, but the ones that I had mentioned specifically, if you can look them up, you'd probably get more what I'm talking about. They're not what you would associate with what are more like pop culture expos at this point. They're very much indie level stuff, but that's the thing, is that, you know, there's all kinds of definitions for what is indie, you know, and sometimes there's a vibe of like you're not really indie enough. And you'll be like, what are you talking about? I'm as indie as it gets. I've never been published by a big publisher, you know. I got my own thing going on. And there is that vibe. Sometimes there is that vibe. Let's see. We got Wayne here asking, Pete, would you be able to do a commission on that brown craft backing board like I bought before? I don't know if I have any more. I don't know if I have any more on that. I don't think I do. I think I did my last one on that. I only had a couple pieces of that. No, I don't think I have any more. I could do one on a regular backing board, you know, just white, on the white comic book backing board. I don't think I have any more. I don't think I have any more of that brown one. With that said, you could also get like a 5x7 King Cryptid one if you wanted a King Cryptid character. I got those, and I got the sketch card size that are like that, but I don't have any more that are backing board size. That was, I parted ways with my last one about a week ago. So yeah, sorry. But hopefully you still want maybe a regular one. The brown craft paper is fun though to draw on. Michael says, I prefer the label Create Your Own Comics. It has a great acronym. Yeah. You would, Michael. You would. Lau says, so many Kickstarters out there right now. I don't understand why creators aren't taking advantage of this show. I don't know. Maybe they hate me. Maybe they're like, I don't want to go on that guy's show. Look at him. Why would I want to do that? That's torture. 5 minutes for what? Let's see. Spicer says, I got you, brother Pete. Thank you, Spicer. I appreciate it. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why, Lau. I don't know why. You know, maybe they just don't know about it. Although, whenever I put an open mic night post up on Twitter, it's always one of the more highly interacted, spread around posts. But yet, people never really show up. They like the idea of it. You know, there's a lot of creators out there that like the idea of it, but they're not coming here. And Bionic Bra, I do see you in the green room. I'll get to you in just a second. So at least we'll have one guest tonight. Jeez. Ross says it's like with movies. There's independent and indie. Strong Bad had a great episode about it. Yeah. Yep. Chris Six says, you're the best, Spicer. So Chris Six must have got a membership from Spicer with the gifted membership there. He did that. Michael says they probably don't know about it. Yeah. It's just social media puts people in bubbles that are hard to break out of. Yeah. That's true too. That's very true. Mike says, how about Alternicon? Oh man, how about Alternicon Headache Con? Don't give me more things to do, Mike. Matt, what's up? Yo. How's it going? Dr. Mask says, hail, Pete. Hail, Dr. Mask. Hope you're doing good. Wayne says, no worries. Just looks good like the King Cryptid card. Yeah. I like the brown craft paper too. But yeah, I only had a little bit of it. And the only reason I had a little bit of it is because one of the printers we were using was using it to separate comics in the shipments. And I didn't have too many of them, but I cut them to size, backing board size, and then I was able to use it to draw on. So I don't have any more though at this point. I don't have any more boxes that have that paper, that material. Dr. Matt says, love the Iron Maiden inspired King Cryptid cover, Pete. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, all courtesy to the dude who, and I don't want to name him just in case, but you know, I got the person to commission it, and they had presented the idea to me. And I thought that would be really cool. So I'm glad that they did, because I think the mashup worked out great. Mike says, I would if I didn't have to put kids to sleep. Wait, you would? Oh, you mean you would come on the show? I was like, you'd set up a convention, but you got to put kids to sleep. I think it might take a few more minutes than that, but now I get it. Yeah, I'm a little slow today. My brain is mush from tax day. All right, so without further ado, because there's been much of it, I'm going to bring on our first guest. Now, this is open mic on a Tuesday night. It's usually on a Wednesday night, but I had to reschedule it this week. So we have it on a Tuesday. Now, if you come on the show here, you get 5 minutes to promote your comic book related project. You can have a channel, a site, a store, a service, a convention. You know, anything that's comic book related that you want to stop by and promote, you get 5 minutes to do so. And you click the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Pretty easy. All right, without further ado, here we go. Give your 5 minutes of attention to Bionic Bra. What's up?
What's going on, Pete? Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I think that's what threw everybody off, probably, is that it's now on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Maybe that might have something to do with it.
I guess. We get one more guest, man, and then it ties last week on Wednesday. So I don't know if it's that.
Well, it's like the chat was saying. I don't understand how people aren't taking advantage of a presentation that you allow them to come on and talk about their product. I mean, it's what most people do in this community.
Well, even on Friday nights, and not to eat up your time here, I'll give you as much time as
you
want,
not at all.
especially if no one else is following you. But on Friday nights, it's an open line show, and so anybody can come on. I usually have some kind of topic I'll talk about, just so it's not dead air for an hour.
Sure.
But if anyone wants to hop in and talk about their project, talk about their crowdfunder, talk about the book that came out, talk about whatever comic related thing they want to discuss, especially if they want to promote their stuff and talk about it, they are free to. And I've done it now for 2 weeks. I've done it a lot before in the past, and a lot of people wouldn't really show up to do that kind of a thing. It's interesting. I'm more likely to get somebody that joins in and calls and talks about whatever I'm talking about. But no one that really comes on to promote or anything. So I don't know if everyone's in like their little corners of the world. It's been a few months since I've been in the swing of this thing, and I've been completely out of I have no idea what's going on with stuff anymore. And anytime I see something happening, I'm like, these guys don't like each other now? What's going on?
Yeah.
So it's been really
going on.
And I can't follow it anymore because I'm so lost.
I don't care to follow it, man. I'm here to have fun.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So I'll put 5 minutes back on there.
Okay.
2 minutes that I ate up.
All
right. So what do you got for us tonight? And could you share your screen this way you can actually navigate and promote it properly? Yes, of course. All right. Thank you.
No problem. So today I have Brother Kit, and this is a new book that I've been preparing to get ready to launch for June, hopefully.
All right.
But this is a kind of a street level, common writer style story that takes place in Atlanta, Georgia, much like Cobalt does. But this is like 30 years ahead of Cobalt. So some time has passed, and that allows for more of the gimmicky gadgetry to take place in this universe.
Oh, this is in the same universe as your previous book?
Right. It's just
wow.
It's just 30 years ahead. That way I can still play around with some of the mythos that I have taking place.
Okay.
And so some people are gone, some people are still here. We'll run into them in and out. But it's going to be connected, but not necessarily overlapping each other. And so Brother Kit is basically about this young man named Devin. He is having some hard times with his father at home. And so he joins this organization as a prospect known as the Warren. And right now he is working with Brother Atlas and Sister V, and he's trying to show that he has what it takes to join the Warren and continue doing the missions that are given to him and Atlas and V. And this I've been working on for a little over a year now. Like, I had the cover art done before I actually like started getting like the script and everything ready, but now we've been blowing through it. We have 25 pages fully colored and rendered, ready for lettering, and it's going to be over 60 pages of story. So we're really getting this one ready to pull the trigger on. But as you can see here, we've got the beginning of the book starts out with them just trying to finish up their first mission. And of course, they're surrounded. And as they try to leave, they're stopped. Action takes place, but they finally get out of there. They run into other characters that will take place later on. And they deliver this little device right here. And they have no idea what it does or anything. I know what people are thinking, but let me just tell you that appearances
hold
deceive.
on. I don't think the images are changing.
There we go.
Okay, there it is.
And so they bring this device back to the Warren for Brother Service, who is their team lead. And they're trying to figure out what it is exactly. They just know that it's wanted by the government. And so they're collecting them to see exactly why there's so many eyes are on these devices. So they bring this one back, and they get word that another one is at a different location at another research facility, and things are ensuing there. As you can tell, there are monsters, aliens within this world now, and so it's just fun and campy. It's like the old style of storytelling. This is for all ages, but that does not mean that it's just for kids or preteens or teenagers. There's stuff in there for everybody. So I'm making sure that there's an element of something in there that's adult themed, stuff for children and everything. Something that you can read along with friends and family, much like Spider-Man, Batman, stuff like that.
Okay, I've got a couple questions for you. Don't worry about the timer going off.
Okay.
So the first one would be, what's the emotional hook of the story?
The emotional hook is that theme of loss. So like I said, Devin and his father are having hard times at home, and that's because Devin's mother passed away. And now he and his father have to run the mochi shop that was their mother's dream. And father's kind of gone off on a bender since the mother passed away. And so Devin is taking up on himself to, try and find, some resources to keep the house and the business, together. And so he's found the Warren, and he thought it was going to be a paying gig. And he hasn't been paid for the last couple of missions that he's been on. So he's wondering if he's actually going to be part of the Warren soon, or if he's just going to be, or if he's being used as a scapegoat. Because as the story progresses, some obstacles take place to where his trust in his teammates starts to wane. So there's going to be a lot of conflict that takes place as the story progresses. He's wondering whether or not he actually wants to be part of it anymore. Can he get out of the war now that he's this deep in? And it's just a lot of family themed and trust. And yeah.
If you could describe the book in a couple of sentences, what would it be?
Street level Sentai Kamen Riders that go up against aliens and monsters from other worlds. Very colorful designs. Oh, and of course, the one thing I forgot. This is loosely inspired by the Brer Rabbit stories, right? So I actually have the complete works right here of Uncle Remus, and as I've been flipping through it and everything, I'm like, some of these stories can be updated and shown with different character designs and different skins on the surrounding. And so I wanted to challenge myself on how I could present old stories in a new way that would make them just as fresh as they once were. And so it's kind of like how WB did it, but horribly, with lunatics and their cartoon characters. But I'm doing it in a much different style. So very much we're tackling the very first story is going to kind of loosely be based on Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby. Well, as divisive as that is, I've found a way to present it to where you get a nod at it, but you wouldn't notice it if I didn't tell you. So it's really cool. So the aliens that I show you right here are kind of what mark that little nod, because instead of just calling them tar, I was like, what would be a good name for this alien race that's made of like graphite and gravel and stuff like that. So these are the bitumen, and bitumen is just a scientific term for asphalt. So just having fun with it, being kind of corny and cheesy with everything. But yeah, I've had a blast creating this one, and my artist, he's doing a great job collaborating with me. We're really synced in on what we need to present with this one. It's really cool. I've had fun with this one.
All right, so I want you to be as concise with your answers as possible with this. Can you give me a rundown of the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why?
The who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. So the who is Devin Tanaka. He is a young high schooler, and as I said, he's going through some struggles at home to make him venture out into not so forgiving antics, and he is just trying to help out his family, but doesn't really make the best decisions. So when so this takes place like 30 years into the future of where Cobalt would take place, because in that book it's a lot darker and grittier.
What kind of year is that?
Like 2035, 2040, not too far in the future, but enough to let tech have like a new design and everything.
Okay.
So you see and this is a spoiler for Cobalt, but you see these robotic security guards right here. So this is the old model, and we'll be running into the new models as the story progresses. I need to share that damn page. But you can see these old robots here, these old security guards. These are the old models, and of course, when they go into the next mission, we're going to run into the upgrades that take their place. They're a lot quicker, stronger, and more formidable, and it proves a little bit more difficult for the characters.
So we got Devin in the year 2040. What's Devin after?
Devin's after security for his dad. He sees that his dad's hurting. Him and his dad aren't really talking right now because they don't want to discuss the loss that took place in the family, right? So Devin's basically acting out as he joins the war, and he's got a lot of pent-up aggression. He wants to get it out, and so he joins Brother Atlas and Sister V in these missions, and as he dives deeper into this world, the more he's going to see that he wants to get out, but the head of the Warren Brother Service doesn't really want to let go of those that he's brought in. So we're going to have that dynamic take place too. And just like in the Brer Rabbit books, there's nods to other characters, like Brother Atlas is Brer Bear, Sister V is Brother Fox. But yes, we changed the gender, God forbid. There is a young Southern Belle female in Brer Rabbit called Miss Meadow. Her name in this one is Maria, and Devin actually is trying to go out on a first date with her after this task takes place. And then things ensue to where he has to leave and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just very much, like the young high schooler trying to be a hero, but not exactly going on the correct path to do so. He's got great intentions, but the actions don't really,
Right. I'm gonna need you to refine that a little bit.
Of course.
What is he after? Yeah. What is he after? And when it, so I'm trying to get everyone, including yourself, to really focus on those 5 W's: the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. Because if you stay off of that, it becomes, you get bogged down in the minutia. You get bogged down in the details of the story that you don't need to talk about when you pitch it. So you want to really focus. You can also view them as the 5 P's, which would be people, place, plot, perspective, and purpose. So if you focus on those things when you have a limited time frame to discuss, or even whenever, if you could have an hour to discuss it, you could focus on those things. Sure. You really get to hammer in your points more effectively, and it sticks with people more too. But if you start going into the minutia of the story, or the moments and the details and what they do here and what they think of that there and how they're doing this and their approach to that, and their people will then lose the larger, broader picture, which is what you want to keep them focused and attentive to. Okay. So for the what, basically that's the plot, essentially. So the what is Devin after, basically saying, why are we here? Why are we reading this story and seeing him do what he wants to do and what he feels he must do?
Well, he feels he has a responsibility to keeping his dead mother's business and him and his father's home, under their ownership. And as much as he's kind of distanced himself from his dad, he still feels very close to his mother, even though he doesn't speak about it. So his actions lead him to go down this path to try and save that, because bills are stacking up, utilities and stuff like that within the business are getting old and faulty. They need to be replaced. They're not getting as many customers because their product has, kind of failed and lost that, mother's love.
You're getting bogged down in the minutia again, brother.
Oh, my bad.
Don't worry about it. It takes some time. But that's the thing, is like readjusting your focus for that kind of stuff will really help you like nail that pitch. Now the why, what is the motivation of the characters? What would you say that is for this fella? Now I know you said some of the stuff in terms of, because you're giving the what, but you're actually giving his why. You're giving his motivation for what he's doing. But the what would be, what is the thing that he's after? What is the thing that he has found himself caught up in? What is the thing he is pursuing?
So for this story, he's pursuing some advanced technology that is basically unknown to this world at the moment. And the Warren, the organization, has caught wind of these gadgets within different reach at different research labs. So they are tasked to go out and get them and bring them back to the Warren. They don't know why. They just know that's their mission. They're not allowed to ask a lot of questions or anything like that. And if you're with the Warren, you don't really ask questions. You just do. That's basically the code around there. They can't. Well, I was about to get lost in minutia again.
All right. That's your homework assignment. Next week, come back to me with the who, what, where, when, and why.
All right.
And we'll hit the ground running.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
No problem.
All right. Take it easy. Have a great night.
You do the same. Thanks.
Yep, no problem. All right. I actually did a whole couple of episodes on Open Mic Monday, really drilling in the 5 W's. And it'll keep you focused, and it'll also keep the people who are listening to you focus too. You want to know your story like the back of your hand. You want to know what you should say, what you can say, and what you really shouldn't say. And some of the stuff that you shouldn't say obviously should be like a big plot twist and that kind of deal. But it really, you don't need to have like there's a reason why when you watch a movie or you read a comic or whatever, all of those in between moments, all of those little things here and there, that you just go for killer, not filler. You know, you go for what matters, and then you tell that story concisely. Now, if you can bring that across in your pitch, it gives the reader, the audience, whoever may be listening, watching, reading your pitch, reading your description, it gives them more confidence in your abilities as a storyteller to understand that you know what it means to leave the unimportant things out and get right to what's important. It keeps the pacing up. It keeps your attention. It keeps the tension of the story, keeps the suspense up. Because every story is kind of like a suspense story, if you really think about it. You're always keeping that suspense going of like, well, what's happening next? Keep them on their toes. So focusing on those elements will really help. And if you want to dive deeper, like I said, you could then turn them into the 5 Ps of people, place, plot, perspective, and purpose. People being obviously the characters, place being the setting and location and the time frame. Plot, of course, being why are we here watching these individuals do the thing that they're doing? What are they doing? And why are they doing it? Perspective being who are we following here? Because sometimes we're following a group, sometimes we're following an individual. Who are we following? And what's their mind frame like? You know, so what are they, how do they perceive the world? And then the 5th thing, purpose. So the purpose is kind of like a two-way street. The purpose is not just you describing your story and talking about why it is that you're creating it, but the purpose also of the characters, so why they feel compelled to do what they're doing. And it's important sometimes to note too when you're pitching, especially when you're an independent, people love to hear about why are you making this story? Of all the stories you can make, of all the stories that are out there, why this one? Why these characters? You know, why is that special to you? And why do you hope that it's maybe special and will resonate with others? And that's really important. So that's something to really focus on. All the other stuff, let them read it. It's in the pages. You write the dialogue and the story for a reason. Let's see. Katie says, "Hail Pete, I got my books this week. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hope you like them. Hope you'll like them." And let's see. Sark says, "They don't think it be like it is, but it do." Exactly. Enrique saying, "Talk about the goddamn story, homie. Give me that back of the book blurb. Give me that trailer voiceover. Give me that reason to check it out first. Reason to stay comes later." That's more blunt than my advice, but it's good advice nonetheless. Let's see. Sark says we need a pitch. You hit a lot of interesting ideas, but I'm still lost what it actually is, and that's what I'm trying to kind of do too. You know, I'm trying to have people kind of hone in on it. Like the open mic show is a bit of a crucible for those that maybe an hour is too much. Maybe it's too intimidating to be there for an hour. Maybe you don't have enough material to talk about things for an hour. Maybe you're not comfortable with an hour, you know, but 5 minutes, if you stay concise with it, you can go boom, boom, in and out. Now, of course, he was on longer, you know, he was on a lot longer. And I really, really commend him for sitting there through an unexpected critique. That's not an easy thing to do. So I want to give him props for that first and foremost. But I do it with love and care, because it's one of those things that I wish someone had done for me when I was coming up with stuff. Because we all are at some point in time where, you know, you sit there and you wish someone could coach you about something, you know, because you're like, I feel like I'm not doing something right. And you can never really know what it is. You never really have your finger on it. You know, but if someone can come along that's been doing it for so long and they tell you, okay, this and this and this will help you out, hopefully you're in the frame of mind to learn from it. And I do hope he comes back next week. I hope we see Bionic Bruh next week, and then he'll have those 5 W's or those 5 P's for us. Let's see. He says, I'm rusty. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Enrique says, why are we here? Just to suffer? Oh, boy. Enrique says, the 5 W's can also be translated to give me the TLDR. Too long, didn't read. If it feels too long, ain't nobody gonna read that. And Jefferson says, earmuffs. Bionic Bruh says, I didn't do trailer this time. I will next time. Chris 6 says, developing a pitch seems like quite the challenge. The advice and support are greatly appreciated, Pete. Yeah, and that's the thing. Just keep on. And the more and more you kind of get used to that sort of thing, the more you hone in on those aspects of your story, not only the easier will it be for you to pitch, but the easier just to talk about your story and focus on those things without necessarily also diving into spoilers or aspects of this story that, unless asked about, like if I ask you what your favorite food of your character is, or what is their relationship to this character, it's different if you're having like a conversational interview about it or whatever. But otherwise, you don't need to divulge that information. And sometimes it's best to not divulge any of that, depending on the story, depending on the time you have to talk about the story, and depending if whether or not anyone is really asking about that. So just things to keep in mind, things to remember. All right, so we got another person here waiting in the green room. Let's see if they can focus on the 5 W's. We shall see. 5 minutes for Madison. What's up, Madison? Good to see you.
Hey Pete, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hope all's going well with you.
All right, yeah. What do you got for us tonight?
Tonight I have Eta, a samurai tale. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm doing pre-orders for hard copy of Volume 1. And what you get with that is not only do you get the hard copy Volume 1, you also get the digital copy of Volume 1, as well as a free digital copy of Issue 5. So Volume 1 is issues 1 through 4 compiled. And Eta is about a young samurai in his quest to become a lord. And he starts out basically right at the beginning of the story, right at the cusp of achieving his dream. But then his whole clan gets wiped out. So he's basically starting from scratch. And so this story takes place in feudal Japan, right at the cusp of what was called the Tokugawa shogunate, which ruled over Japan for about 250 years and ushered in a strict caste system. Eta is the name of the title of the book. And Eta is essentially the lowest of the low in the caste system. Basically considered kind of like untouchables in India. There would be people who are butchers or undertakers, things like that. And our main character, Seike, was born Eta. And so, his dream is lofty, and it really follows his quest to become a lord. And it kind of takes some of the glamorization of the samurai out and kind of wrote the story to show these are real people with ambition, not always honorable, not always noble. Some people are noble, and sometimes that stabs you in the back, it screws you over, so sometimes you doing the right thing, if you're doing the right thing, you got to kind of do, and in this, for the sake of the story, there's a lot of people who are doing the right thing for the sake of it, and knowing that it's not always a good outcome, and some people are maybe not being as honorable to kind of reach their quest. So you can check out and I have some on the screen that's shared here. I have these are just some pages that are if you want to get a look at what the art kind of looks like here.
Who's the artist?
So the artist is Ozzy Longoria, and he did all the pencils and inks. Ross Hughes has done the shading on Volume 4. Ross retired, So when Volume 5 does come out, if you do the pre-order and get issue 5, it's going to be Ray's Arts doing the shading for volumes or issues 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 8 will be the completion of the story. So basically, it'll be an 8 issue comic going forward. So this will be the first 4 that this combined hard copy volume. It'll be about 90 pages. It'll actually be over 90 pages, but it'll be 90 pages of comic book. And then there'll be, obviously some other things in there, some bonus art and, some addendums. There's a lot of lingo used from that era of Japan. So there's a definitions guide in the back as well, so that you can know and go and reference and not get lost. But yeah, that's basically on what it is, and actually go take you to the pre-order screen. And Ozzy did this cover here as well.
Don't worry about the time. You still got a few minutes.
Oh, cool. Well, I guess if I got a little bit of time, Pete, do you mind if I play the trailer for this?
Only if you think that would really be the best way to talk about the book.
Well, I'll just say that you can check the trailer out on the website. It's actually on the homepage here. Again, part of the reason that I kind of made this book is kind of to get more of the essence. It's still, it's historical fiction. It's heavy on the fiction for sure.
Is it based on anyone specifically, or any events specifically?
So it's not based on any events specifically. It does, in the beginning of the book, it does have the Battle of Sekigahara, which was basically the main final war before that the Tokugawa shogunate won, to then usher in the unification of all the clans of Japan, and to have that era of peace. So that's the background of this book, of this comic, is that battle. Everything starts and takes place with that battle, and then carries forward for our main character Seike from there.
Okay, if you can concisely, now did you see the whole my rant and rave about the 5 Ws?
I did not.
Okay, well, now you're going to go into it blind, I guess, just like Bionic Broad did. If you can give me as concisely as you possibly can your who, your what, your when, your where, and your why for the story.
Right. So Seike is the who is Seike. He's the main character. The what is basically his quest to become a lord. It's his dream to have his own lands and essentially be the ruler of his domain. The where is feudal Japan. Takes place between the years of 1601 to about 1605, and it's a who, what, where, when, and why. And the why for the character's motivation is because he came up as a child where he just saw all these samurai and was basically relegated to never ever being able to become one. And in his mind, it's why not? Why can't I be one?
Was there some kind of defining moment in his life that made him want to become a samurai?
Yeah, so I think it was really for this character, the defining moment is just seeing, it's just how he was being treated by not only the people who were above his station, but also by his parents as well. And he essentially is almost brought under the wing of a samurai, which then motivates him to kind of want to actually become and achieve that.
What does the title mean?
Eta?
Yeah.
So Eta that's the class. That's what the class is called, Eta. So like if you're an undertaker or if you're a butcher, you would be considered Eta, which is basically like an untouchable type. You have to live away from the village because you're unclean, if you will. and that's what he's born as.
Oh, okay. It'd be cool if it was like Eta the Untouchable or something like that. But I don't know. They can't rename it now.
Reading, yeah, we're about to drop issue 5, Pete. We got the sequel. That'll be the sequel.
There you go. There you go. All right, not too bad with the 5 W's. Not too bad. I'm gonna give you. Now you did pretty good with the 5 W's. I'm gonna give you the 5 P's. It's kind of the same as the 5 W's, but it's a little deeper. You can get a little deeper than just like the surface level, maybe 1 or 2 word, maybe a sentence answer. So we'll start with the first one. People. Who are the people that are involved? So if you had to say the main characters, who were they?
Samurai. Yeah.
Samurai. Okay. The place.
Japan.
The plot.
The plot. The plot is basically follows. The plot is a man's.
It's okay if you repeat some of your answers.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Go a little deeper too.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, the plot is this man who's on this quest to become a lord, and he has a series of events that he has to kind of respond to, where he's right on the cusp of becoming a lord. He loses kind of everything, and then he has to start from scratch as basically from everything that he had gained. And that's kind of where the story picks up. And the plot is him using his samurai skills, his political guile, and his social skills to try to rise back up to that point.
So is it kind of like a fall from grace, redemption, coming of age, quest for power kind of a story?
It's a kind of a fall from grace and then a quest for power.
Okay. Now, this you can get a little deeper. Perspective. So as we're reading and we're following along, what's the perspective like of this individual?
The perspective of the main character, Seike, is his perspective is, I have a goal and I must achieve my goal no matter the cost. No matter the cost.
So
the goal is everything.
Would you say that he's like tenacious, he's relentless, that kind of thing?
He's tenacious, relentless, he's cunning. He's at times deceptive. And he's also very skilled.
Is this character a survivor? Like they'll do things sometime that are against their moral code?
Very much so. Very much a survivor to whatever it takes to survive. And whatever it takes to survive in the name of achieving his goal.
Okay. So the ends justify the means to this fella.
The ends often justify the means, and survival wouldn't even mean much to him if that goal wasn't just so persistent. If there was no way he could ever achieve it, he probably wouldn't even want to be around anymore.
Okay. And now the final one here. It's kind of a two-pronged question. The purpose. So the purpose of this character, you've kind of summed this up throughout our conversation, our little conversation that we've had here. But also now the purpose of this story, the purpose of you telling this story, why this story. You could tell any story you want. Why this one?
Right. So the purpose of this story is in part because these are the type of stories that I'm looking for. And at the time I started this story, I was having trouble finding things like this. So I decided to tell kind of my own version of the story. And like I said, the purpose of this story from a writing standpoint is to kind of give a different look into the samurai world from the Western perspective, where it's mostly, like I said, it's like very honorable and, glamorized in many ways. And this is kind of to bring something that's a little more grounded.
So you're trying to bring the grit and realism to the stereotypical portrayal of feudal Japan and what it's like to be going down the samurai path.
Right. Yeah. So trying to add some realism to it and also some humanity to it. Right. So everybody's not a robot kind of, yes, my lord, whatever you say, because it's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
because it's not like these are, samurai are real people too. And sometimes it's like, I don't agree with you. And even though you are my lord, I might let you know about it. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get killed, because there's nuance to these type of things. So it's like kind of just bringing that to the forefront and telling this story.
All right. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Especially putting you on the spot there. Good job, man. All right. So that's about it then. I think that's a good place for us to part ways, and all the best of luck to you with ATOW. What's the website they can go to?
They can go to goldentreepublishing.com, and you can go to the shop area to do the pre-order. And also all the first 4 issues are there single, for digital, just 99 cents.
All right. Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much, Madison. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, let's see. We got Pick Up the Sword Studios as Kentaro Crafts. Magical Inks as a tattooist, aka an inker. When a stranger leaves him with many questions, Kentaro is plunged into a violent clash with demonic forces. Inker is a 72-page fantasy horror and launches in May on Fund My Comic, and says, tell the story that you want to read is a great path to follow as a writer. I think honestly, it's one of the only paths, if not the only path, that leads you towards telling something that means something to you, and then that point and that emotion comes across. And otherwise, you can tell a million different stories, but if none of them mean anything to you, it's really gonna come across, and people will still resonate with it. It'll still find an audience. Sometimes it'll find a big audience. But I think largely when you have these creative people who find themselves either in a rut where they're really resentful of their creative career, it's because they spent so much time and energy creating things that didn't want to create, that didn't mean anything to them. Instead of doing the thing that they really wanted to do that meant something to them. And now I know it's like, okay, you put food on the table, you pay bills and all that. Yes, I get that. There's aspects to that. But we're not talking about, work for hire scenario at a bigger publisher on a bigger IP or whatever. And, you're actually sewing something for it. There's people who just like everything they could possibly think of. Oh yeah, I'll write this, I'll write that, and maybe something will stick. More often than not, one of the things that happens is that the things that stick, you don't like it at all, and you grow to resent your story, your career, and your audience. There's so many creative people, especially in comics, who've become that way over the years, and it's all because they did these things. They created these characters and these stories that didn't really mean anything to them. And it really is. It's a good piece of advice to look at what's out there. Why are you creating in the first place, right? And then think about that, and think about what would you like to see that's out there. What do you wish was out there? Bring that into existence. As a creative person, you have the ability to do that, and then hone and refine your skill set as much as you possibly can to make that thing the best it could possibly be. So it's not an easy path, but I honestly think it's a more fulfilling one. That's for sure. As someone who's told stories, in comic form, some that I wanted to tell, some that I needed to tell. Like King Crypt is a story I need to tell. I can't imagine my life not telling this story. And it can go on for a long time. I have so many stories I want to tell. The character means a lot to me. The world that I'm crafting means a lot to me. Hopefully it means a lot to the readers. Hopefully they feel that when they read the story. If I'm doing my job at all, hopefully that resonates. And we'll see. Time will tell. Let's see. Enrique says, for the love of all that is holy, I hope everyone watching, looking to pitch, is taking notes. Oh, well, thank you, Enrique. That's the thing, is it takes time. There's not a lot of videos or people that necessarily go and talk about these kinds of things. It's sort of like everyone blind leading the blind sometime, but sometimes it's just everyone's figuring out their own path, you know, and that's what it's like. And everything I say, it's not necessarily like I'm saying this is definitively the way you do it, but it'll friggin' help you. It'll help you. It's not going to hurt you. You know, like focusing on the 5 W's, digging deeper into the 5 P's, like that'll really help you out. And you can see if that's useful for you, and you can hone and refine where you want to go with that. But it definitely won't hurt you. It's not the only way, but it definitely won't hurt you. Bionic Bra says, I have a book called Death Plunderer, and if I don't make 50K, I can't quit my job and do this full time, so back my book. Well, there you go. Well, there's your motivation. Andy says, write the story that means something to you, unless you are Brian Michael Bendis. Has he never written a story that means something to him? Or do you just not want him to write that story? I guess I can interpret that 2 ways. All right. So tomorrow, I'll be on the Alterna Comics channel, 9 o'clock Eastern. We've got the Hall of Fame 2025 campaign. The Chair is one of the books. The Chair #1, Unit 44 #1, and Mr. Crypt #1. Not King Cryptid, Mr. Crypt. Now, this was voted on by the readers that participated between Twitter and YouTube. So I'm really hoping people are interested in these. We had a really good time last year with the original Hall of Fame class. We're upgrading the cover stock this year. It's going to be even better than what last year's was. The interior will be the same, but the cover stock is going to be even shinier and more impressive. These are going to be very limited edition books too. We're only going to be printing whatever sells through on the pre-order campaign. I'm not printing extra for what to have them on the site store or anything like that. It's just going to be pre-orders. So if you don't pre-order, you're not getting one. They're also going to be sold by the order in which you purchase them. So if you are the first person to buy one of the books, you get #1 out of whatever the print run is, and so on and so forth. I'll have way more to talk about tomorrow regarding this topic. So if you want, tune in, Alterna Comics YouTube channel, 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll be launching those. I'll be talking about those. Other than that, I got the King Cryptid campaign. So we got King Cryptid 10 to 13, which is currently just 14 backers away from 400. King Cryptid, man, oh man. Look at that. So we're on issues 10 to 13. Again, we are just 14 backers away from 400. If you're not familiar with the King Cryptid story at this point, let's do the voiceover movie trailer thing, right? In a world of unknown creatures, King Cryptid stands alone. The man once known as Crowan has spent centuries seeking redemption from a curse that has transformed him into the creature known as King Cryptid. Finding solace in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, his peaceful isolation comes to an end when he discovers an ancient fight for humanity, the planet, and the very universe itself. So King Cryptid, if you're not familiar with the series, it's an episodic ongoing series. Every issue has a complete story, but they all tie together. There's a continuity, there's a purpose, there's a consistency here among what the character is doing, what they're experiencing, who they meet. All these things matter. We have various issues on each campaign. 1 to 9 currently in stock. Funding right now 10 to 13. If you want to get 1 to 9, you're not familiar with this series at all, visit alternacomics.com/King Cryptid, and you can check out all the issues that we have here. Again, each of them tells a different and complete story, but the stories all matter and they all link together. Remember that, the good old days of continuity with comic book issues? Not just retcons and reboots and all that mumbo jumbo, but actually characters growing and learning and experiencing things and fighting and battling and clawing their way through their existence. That's what you'll find in the pages of King Cryptid, who is supernatural hero #1 of New England. He is the monster of the mountain. He resides in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. That's where he calls home. Over 500 years old, this dude. So we have a lot of stories to tell in the past, and we have a lot of stories to tell presently and into the future. Some of the stories go in between. You know, we've had a couple flashback issues, but we're going to have more in the issues to come, in years to come. I've got easily 100 issues of this series to tell. So if you guys are here for it, I'm here to make it. But I can only do this with the support of you guys and with the enthusiasm of you guys. So if you want these issues, if you want me to make them, if you want me to continue this series, please consider backing the series. Issues 10 to 13, only $15. You get 4 new issues. You can get 1 through 9. It's like $20 to $25. So you're going to get some great paranormal monster mystery adventure storytelling. And you're also going to get a series where hopefully you understand and know that the creator of it, me, it really means something to them, and I'm in it for the long haul. So thank you guys for helping me bring these to life, and I'm going to continue to do so as long as you want me to do so. What Geeks Do says, love me some King Cryptid. Thank you so much, What Geeks Do. I appreciate that. Hey, what's up, SDA? Hope you're doing good. I appreciate that. Let's see here. SDA putting the alternativecomics.com link in there. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. That's it for us tonight. I'll be back on this channel. I'll be simulcasting tomorrow night between the Alterna channel and this channel, but I'll be back in full on this channel on Thursday night with RT Bear, 9 o'clock Eastern. I hope to see you guys then. Hope to see you guys tomorrow night too. But until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and an even better tomorrow. I'll see you guys soon. All the best.